Yo, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of MSA Weekly. And today we have a super awesome guest. Rian has decided to join us and finally give us some very needed information on a product that a lot of you guys in the cannabis industry know. It's a very popular product within our customer base, and with Dean, he's also a big fan of the product. It's called ExploGrow, and today we're going to be having Rian, the founder, join us, and he's going to be answering a little bit of questions. And as always, Dean, our in-house master grower, is here to help with some of the more technical stuff. How's it going, Dean?
Talking microbes again, so a little nervous because they go so deep. But it's a product that I've seen a lot of test results on, and the company's done a lot of sort of field testing on. So it's an interesting product to learn more about. It has become more popular with our own customer base, so we know there is an interest in it, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about the product.
Yeah. Well, let's without further ado, let's bring in Rian. Hey, Rian. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode and for being so kind to give us some of your time. I'm just going to jump straight in with a question, and if you can give us a little bit of background just on where ExploGrow came from.
So we started ExploGrow in about 2012, just after the dot-com boom and crash. I had a digital agency in London that grew faster than we could sort of manage it grow, and we picked up a relationship with a charity called the A-Star League. If you've seen footballers celebrate with the A-Star, they assisted kids to get them out of poverty and into education and into a career path. And that would have rappers like Chipmunk and Tinchy Strider come along to five-a-side football games and inspire the kids into doing their maths so that they can count their money when they make their millions rapping, like Tinchy Strider and Chipmunk. And the same with how you're going to bust those bad lines if you don't do your English and know your language. So study, and so that was the inspiration to get them into a career path and studying and inspired, I guess. And we were pretty stoked with that. And in the agency, we sponsored them and ran their digital marketing for a good 7 years. And I became friends with the chairman, and one day he came to me and said, "Hey, I got this opportunity to revolutionize agriculture in Africa. But you're from Africa. I know nothing about agriculture, so if you want it, you can have it." And he looked at the claims that came with this promised revolution, and it was just insane. It's too good to believe, but I guess like most South Africans, you're curious, so you want to check it out. So we tried it, and the results were better than what was claimed. It was like, there was a spinach farm, it's a tiny little greenhouse, and they applied ExploGrow and increased their yield by 5 times. So it's like, what's going on here? It was a bit of management issues there as well, but we were so stoked. And
I mean, that's
pretty awesome. And it was
yeah, sorry, Rian, you dropped for a second, but just so the guys at home know, it's ExploGrow it's the company name, and it's also the product name, and it's I've saw it at first about, I don't know if it's been an essay the whole time. I know you said since 2012, but I first noticed it, I think about 3 years ago.
We came in 2013 into SA, and we've been cutting our teeth in commercial farming, trying to prove its worth. I guess to get to where our ultimate vision is, into Africa, into subsistence farming, to help struggling farmers produce much better yields, much better quality food, when they are always struggling to get inputs. They're struggling with supply fertilizer. So we were away trying to get into get into the agricultural market, make a bit of profit, and then fuel our vision. And then these guys kept on calling the office, hey, can you just decant a little bit into like a 500 for us here? Like, and they called us like crazy, man. It was like nonstop. And eventually we thought we're going to have to deal with this. These growers are calling the office all the time and driving us nuts. It was cool, but, when we try to sell 10, 20,000 liters, and the guys coming, with their little blicky whatever ExploGrow. So what we thought is we'd go to local grow shops because they have a client base and they got a relationship with their growers, and they're best to advise them and teach them and sort of walk the journey with them. And so we just decanted volumes to the retail shops. And if people called us and said, hey, can you send us ExploGrow? We go, no, go to your grow shop. So everyone kept on going to the grow shops. And if the grow shops didn't have ExploGrow, they'd call us. And
fantastic.
Now I think there's about 40 or 50 retailers all over South Africa retailing ExploGrow. It's been wild.
Yeah, I must say,
that's quite interesting.
I must confess, I've not actually personally grown with it, but Dean has grown with it, luckily. So one of us has had the experience. Dean, what's your experience been, and sort of what's your sort of main questions and thoughts?
So I want to actually just follow up on that question. Were the people phoning, was it sort of small vegetable farmers, or were a lot of the calls coming from people in the cannabis space? And it
was from the cannabis guys.
No, but back then it was the tomato farmers. Like, hey, my tomato plant's looking a bit
So
is that what
we're based in Port Elizabeth, and Port Elizabeth is also based in sort of headquarters for the calamari chokka fishing industry. So there's a lot of growing going on around here.
And
tomatoes back then.
Was it that sort of small push from the cannabis community that sort of got you guys to join into the cannabis community? And has it grown quite a bit on that side? Is it? I mean, it's readily used across our own networks, so it has seemed to penetrate the market quite well. Has that been your experience?
Yeah. So when it sort of got a bit wild, all the inquiries and all the use and the feedback, and then I started an Instagram account. Turns out that was where everyone was, so it's like they started jumping out of the woodwork and sending us pictures and feedback, and we then sort of had to give it attention because it was pretty awesome. We were getting epic feedback from this brilliant community, and all these new friends that we met along the way just got us super interested. And I've always been a big fan of the plant. Having all research banned on the plant until 2017 in the US just makes you think, oh my goodness, what do they not want us to find out? So
yeah.
Always been a big fan of what can be achieved. So I've sort of watched that with one eye, and then suddenly it connected with ExploGrow. That was pretty cool. And then we decided to do like a solo cup, because that's I thought, that's like hardcore growers do solo cups, and it's a good testing ground. And then we started a hashtag ExploGrow. That's been banned by Instagram now, but the ExploGrow started, and it was simple. You do one plant with ExploGrow and one plant without, and it was epic. And the tags were going wild, and got little WhatsApp groups going, and met a whole bunch of people. So that's where we sort of got into the community until the next year when we reran the ExploGrow, and no one joined, no one tagged. And I went to the WhatsApp group. I go, hey guys, what's going on? And they're like, no, we can't neglect our plants by having a control. We have to give ExploGrow to everything. So that didn't work. So I'm like, Now what? And I was like, hey,
now it's not the ExploGrow.
Who's run out of
Just
product?
grow.
Who wants product to tag the grow off? And like everyone's like, no, mate.
I think, Rian, while you've got all the growers at your disposal on the audience here, I mean, what's sort of like your number one most asked question and, hints and tips for growers that are out there? I'm sure you get hundreds of questions every day. Here's your chance to answer it to the masses.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, even for us, is dosage. The stuff is so powerful. I mean, we had to illustrate that we grew in an Ulva farm, seaweed. Well, they farm abalone, and they grow Ulva to feed the abalone, and they grow it in these big 1,000-liter tanks of salt water. And they asked us for a recommendation. We did a bit of research, but it was mind-blowing, man. The application rate came down to 1 millimeter per 1,000 liters of salt water.
Wow.
And then we ran tests on full FERT, half the FERT, and no FERT, but with 1 milliliter of ExploGrow. And the best result came out at 1 milliliter ExploGrow per 1,000 liters of salt water and half the fertilizer. On all the replicates, and they've done many replicates, every time it produced between 9 and 41% more seaweed.
Wow. And so that's a specific kind of seaweed.
I mean, it's like...
That's a specific kind of seaweed that they're growing to feed to the abalone in abalone farms, correct? Okay, nice. Quite interesting. Wow. Yeah. Yes. Flies to saltwater as well.
It's like how powerful is that, eh? And also like in some towns, like they grow potatoes in sand. I mean, like dune sand. And we do 8 liters per hectare, which is per gram of soil. It's about 1,000 microbes total.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And that's enough to push out an extra 30% of potatoes.
Jeez.
In that area specifically, that produces between sort of 13 and 16 tons per hectare extra potatoes.
Yeah.
All those little small microbes.
Bottom line.
Yeah, and so that's the question, like dosage and timing, I think is the biggest sort of art and science. But it's also difficult because everyone's growth system's different. And I think my answer would be grow around the microbes. Everything else you do should come in around the microbes because he's setting a symbiotic relationship between the plant and the microbes. And once that symbiosis is set, magic happens. And we'll need a half an hour to go through that kind of detail.
Yes.
So we'll not do that today. But it's but if you have that relationship set, you got billions and billions of microbes doing all the jobs that you as grower aren't always able to do. So you don't want to mess with that. You just want to nurture and sort of tweak that. And what's the right dose? What's the right frequency? Based on your system, you're gonna find the sweet spots. We asked the question on Instagram: how do you use ExploGrow? And you should go read the comments. It's pretty cool. But we sort of taken all that and merged that into a standard operating procedure for cannabis with ExploGrow. And maybe what we could do is we could pop a link in the video, and so that's all your questions answered.
And then if we do, we will be doing another, for those that are watching, and we will be doing another session like that, in-depth session, specifically on the details of it. And we'll have a whole presentation and everything when we've got a little bit more time on it. So we'll also link that in future. If it's linked below, you can go check that video out. Dean, I mean, how's your experience been growing with ExploGrow, and any questions that you've sort of come across?
So once again, it comes back to sort of the ethos. A lot of clients wanting to, grow for better value for money. You don't want to go and, blow the budget when the budget's not often there. And when our client base originally started working with the ExploGrow, they perceived it to be expensive because of the amount that you get. But it's such a powerful product that you don't need to use a lot, so it goes a long way and ends up saving you on all the other fertilizers that you would have had to feed anyway, and at the end get better results. So in of our regular listeners, you'll know it's been my quest to reduce costs over time and get better yields. And ExploGrow has fallen into that category of product that I constantly have in the arsenal now. I'm using less additives than ever, but I'm maximizing on my microbes. And ExploGrow is, a product that I've been utilizing as a tool in that sort of endeavor. And also do know a lot of our clients use ExploGrow for germination, which is something quite interesting. They'll also do a seed soak just before or during their germination in a diluted amount of ExploGrow. And the clients who do it all swear by it and haven't gone back to an alternative way of germination. Yeah. So for my sort of, one of what I think is one of the harder parts of the cannabis grow journey, the germination, there is it is also a tool that you can use for some assistance there. Rian, do you have a little bit? I saw in the sort of some beforehand, you also had it in your presentation. So is it something that you guys recommend, the seed soak?
Oh yes, it's probably the hardest topic in our inbox in Instagram. It's like people go, I pulled some dead seeds off the shelf, I popped them in ExploGrow, and then like 20 minutes later, I saw a taproot, and I'm like, whatever, and then I asked a few other people, like, seriously, man, like I've tried it, and my seeds pop roughly on the 23, 25 hour mark. And they're like, no, it's like half an hour. And I'm like, I still have to see that. But people freak out. They're pretty stoked, especially if you had like some epic genetics and you didn't have time to grow it and it sat on the shelf too long and you just think they're dead. So people are going back to those seeds and pulling them out and then, they pop, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Rian, in just like 1 minute or less, I know this might be a bit too much of a question, but what is ExploGrow? Like, this is like the breakdown and makeup, in summary.
So, that's a lekker one. Well, it's registered as a biofit, and a biofit makes plants grow. And again, we need more time to go into the science of it. But it both inhibits stress that reduces growth, and it brings in and optimizes nutrients and fetches nutrients for the plant, and then it makes it grow. So it makes plants grow. But as we all know, we wouldn't really be having this conversation if that's all it did. There's something really special about the formula. About the specific strains that we have blended together, and there's a raw power there that we've not seen. It's just frightening and awesome. And
I think
see if you account with the formulation. That's what something there. There's power in there somewhere.
Well, I think we're going to have to follow up on that longer session. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to say cheers, just that we're running a little bit out of time. But yeah, thank you, Rian, so much for joining us. And yeah, guys,
sure.
we'll all be able to answer some questions.
Sure, thank you, guys.
And I'll see you soon.
Keep up the good work. You guys are doing phenomenal.
Thank you, Rian.
Thanks, Rian.
All right, guys. Yeah, thanks so much. That was Rian from ExploGrow. Very interesting. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, same. And I think we're going to delve more. I think it's a single product, but I think there's a lot to talk about. And it's been something I've been watching a while. And there are scientific results that are behind a lot of what Rian has been talking about. And I'm looking forward to learning more about the product and how to utilize it in the future. For sure.
Yeah, so we'll bring all of that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow the links below if you want some more info. And we'll check you guys next week. Peace, y'all.
Peace.